So this weekend, we all know that we got ourselves a new dungeon, and we all know what really came into the limelight with this dungeon, and it was specifically with this dungeon race, okay? I'm referring to the John chunking of the Controverse Holds Magnetic Grenade Chaos Accelerant combo. And in this video, I'm going to show you how you can do it, some tips to make it easier and even more efficient, some clips of it taking place, and the exact build that I used for my contest clear. Now, I don't know exactly how long you have been able to do this with the Controverse Holds. However, I do have a bit of an educated guess. As we know, in October, the Controverse Holds caught a pretty juicy buff, allowing them to have built-in weaken, giving you additional grenade charge for any grenade, and the insane 2000% grenade regen that you get when you hit an enemy with your overcharged grenades, and allowing us to really juice our grenade damage through our raw stats, which is something that we didn't have previous access to in terms of just boosting our raw grenade damage. But now that we do, some new doors have opened. Now, there's a few factors that go into this type of damage strat when you're trying to perform it and pull it off that you must know about. First things first, you would think that for a strategy like this, where you're literally right on the boss, that tractor cannon would be ideal for a debuff. Well, I can't really explain as to why other than Destiny 2 spaghetti code, but when you pair Controverse Hold with the Echo of Undermining fragment of the Void subclass, yes, that is the fragment that allows your Void grenades to weaken, it seems to have a lot higher odds for you to chunk. But when Tractor is on, it feels like you're doing a lot less damage because you're not getting the chunks. I don't know if there's some sort of interaction or bug between the Echo of Undermining fragment and the Controverse Holds giving your Void grenades the ability to weaken when they're charged, but it is definitely something to know about when doing this. Do not use Tractor Cannon. I know it sounds weird, but put on the Echo of Undermining fragment and don't worry about using a Tractor Cannon. Next thing that I know a lot of people are going to be wondering and asking about, how does this work with console players and mainly their frame rate? Well, I've done a little bit of some testing, and it definitely plays a factor. Who would have thought? If you are a console player or someone doing this on lower frame rates, you're not gonna have nearly as much success, man. I'll be honest. If you are a console gamer, you will run into issues getting the chunks off consistently, and it might lead to you running into some frustrations. I'm giving you a heads up to that right now. This game is weird. All of this is kind of weird, but it's a Destiny 2 moment. It's what this game is best known for. It's what it does. Something that you got to know about. Next thing, obviously, you're doing a grenade-based strat. You're gonna want to get your way up to 200 grenade stat, no matter how. Whether you got to use triple fonts and a blast distributor weapon, do it. You need to get 200 grenade. It is pivotal. Duh. Now, next thing, when you actually go to execute your damage, there are some things that you need to know about. The next thing we need to talk about is when you actually go to throw your John chunking grenade. So on bosses that are standing or have legs or are not hovering, you want to throw your grenade right at them, jump, look down, and kind of aim it at their feet. This is what I have found to give me the chunks most often. Not saying it's the quote-unquote best for this specific strategy, but it definitely has some consistency when doing it. However, not all bosses in this game are going to be standing or have legs. For these bosses, you want to jump right up to them and throw it at their torso, because you want to make sure all of those void projectiles from your charged magnetic grenade hits the boss. These projectiles are what's doing the chunking, so you want all of them to land on your target. If you want to throw in a few min shots here and there or Augur's turret, by all means go ahead, but you really want to use your time to focus on throwing as many grenades as possible, and only throw your Nova at the very end of a phase for the most optimal time, as your nades are going to chunk way harder than your Nova Bomb is. Trust me, bro. And there's one other little trick that we could do to help you out, especially if you are in a solo scenario. But first, I really would like to just thank our members of the channel. I like to shout out all the members of the channel in videos, so if you want to get your name mentioned in videos, become a tier 1 member of the channel. KJ42 is our tier 3 member of the channel, which is really, really awesome. Hope you're doing well, brother man. Pikachu is our longest tenure member, coming in at 10 months. Much love, brother man. And Perplexity is our newest tenure member at the tier 2 Kyle getting times 10 tier. Much love, you guys. Hope you guys are doing well. So now I'm going to go ahead and just head over to the firing range and show you guys just a brief little example of what we just talked about, and then move over to the specific build breakdown, although that's not going to be too long, but I know people sometimes just like to see the build bar for bar. Okay, so this is going to be just a quick little live demonstration on us doing some chunking, our setup, everything like that, and then we'll briefly go over the exact build that I used for contest. So we have our Controverse Hold here. We have our fonts to get our nades up to 200. I guess you don't need triple font here in this situation. We don't have a tractor cannon. We're just going to pick up these orbs. Obviously, we're going to get our fonts. And real quick, I will show you that I am at 240 frames. And we'll go ahead. We will just rip some good old John chunks. Jump up. Bang. Jump up. Bang. Yeah, this guy has 1.5 million health, by the way. That time we didn't hit the full juicer chunk. And as you notice, you run into this little situation where you have, you know, some time where you don't fully have a nade, at least when you are playing in solo. We have something to get around that. Don't you worry. But of course, you know, we do got to hit some nice chunks, because who doesn't like hitting some nice juicer chunks, especially on a boss like this, who, this guy has like 1.5 million HP. And John chunking like this, it's something this game hasn't seen before, but it's something that is just, it's fun. Okay, let's stop the yap. Let's get to it. So you guys get the point that it chunks at 240. I do briefly just want to go down to, like, we'll go to 60, bro. Ooh. Brutal 60 FPS. Get ready, boys. Get ready for some brutality. What I'm about to do here, just to show you guys what it's like. We don't need to go down to 30. We're not. No one plays this game on a 360, because this game's not on a 360. I'm going to now show you that it's a lot more inconsistent on 60, right? As you can see, we're not getting nearly the chunks as often that we were just now at max frames. Like I said, like this is the part for like console folks I know are just not going to be happy about. It is what it is. At least you know that you might as well, you know, use your time on some other damage strat, right? So we're going to go ahead, re-up this bad boy up to 240. 60. No, get me off of 60, please. Okay, we're back up to 240, but now we have to describe here. I'm just going to yeet this grenade, all right? So you run into this situation where we don't have a nade, and more specifically, you run into the situation after you throw 3 grenades. So we have to have some sort of way in which we can help alleviate this just a little bit. Well, we do have just that. So real quick, what I'm going to do is, I'm not going to throw a grenade, I'm going to tease you. But what we're going to do is we're going to have a weapon equipped to help us out with this. What weapon, you might be thinking? Well, brother man, that weapon would be none other. Wait for it. All right, it's this thing, the 86. Why the 86? Because it has Bray Legacy, which is an origin trait initially for the Deep Stone weapons when they became craftable, but it's now on this sword. And something that this sword has that Bequest doesn't is the fact that it has its origin trait enhanced, which means we're going to get even more ability energy, because damage with this weapon generates an improved amount of ability energy for the one closest to a full charge. Which one is going to be closest to a full charge? That is going to be your grenade. So we're going to put this on real quick. We have 35 ammo, and now I'm just going to show you exactly how it goes. Let me get some chunk in real quick. You gotta have them fonts, man. Them fonts are important. You know what I'm saying? Okay, so look, we're gonna throw our 2 nades here. Actually, we'll throw the 3. A nice little chunk there for the boys. And now we run into this situation. Bink, bink. I have the grenade bag. Bink, bink, bink. I have the grenade back again. Trying not to, rip myself here. Bink, bink. We have it back. And if you throw the rift, which you will have to do in some situations, it gets a little bit more silly sometimes, just because the controversy is giving you so much ability energy. And just, look at that chunk. Look at that chunk, bro. You see what I'm saying? How the sword adds a little bit of extra tech and just, you're getting ability energy back, dude. We want that all day. And you're just going to chunk so much more consistently because you're throwing more nades. And, especially if you're a PC guy, bada bing, bada boom, chunk, chunk, chunk. Yeah, and just this little testing clip scenario, dog. We did over nearly half his health. Like, it's... chunking's pretty juicy. And that's with no song. This is a solo scenario, right? Also, you guys notice how we did not have a tractor cannon on whatsoever. You don't need it. You don't want to use it specifically because there's just some weirdness with it. Now, we'll briefly go over the exact build that I used for day 1. You can use the turrets and the 2 rocket pulses, although you could totally just get away with running Eager Sword, Choir, Mint, Boom Skis, call it a day skis. But for the sake of, I'm just showing you exactly what I used. Here you go. Obviously, the most important thing would be your aspects and fragments. Once again, Chaos Accelerant, Feed the Void, I go for undermining with the controverse hold. I know it seems weird on paper, but there is some practicality to it in practice. That's why it's here. Persistence, instability, starvation. Nova Bond doesn't really do much. Definitely want a healing rift. I absolutely want a healing rift. And then weapons that I spent retrograde, augurs. You don't need the augurs, bro. If you're doing contest equilibrium right now, you don't need the augurs. You can John Chunk without it. I had a teammate. We had 2 warlocks on the John Chunking controverse build, 1 Song of Flame, and one of us that was on the controverse chunking was on an eager sword. Okay, our armor, super fonts, grenade fonts. Obviously, if you're running, you would have at least like 1 firepower, just some sort of way to make orbs. Resist mods for contest mode, surges for damage. If not damage, I would just run like weapon font, stacks on stacks, call it a day. Pretty chill. And then I ran time dilation, powerful attraction, and a class font. I feel like mods don't play as big of a role, but yeah, that's the main gist of the setup and build. Artifacts don't affect this build at all this season, so you don't need to worry about that. And then make sure to keep an eye out on the 86 sword. This is a portal weapon, as this is the weapon that has Braid Legacy, but it's the enhanced version of it. So you get more energy gains, which is really awesome. Thank you guys so much for watching. Y'all be safe, take care. See you later.